Hey everyone, so back at it again with another Siege replay video. This time I'm actually going to commentate it rather than just play music. So we'll see how this goes. Some people have been asking for it, and I actually have some time tonight to do it. So now I have a cat. Here he comes, making sure that I can't record the video. Say hello to Kitty. Alright, so for this first one, we have Tesarion, Vigor, Molly, and I'm bringing Jeanne, Vigor, Tesarion. This is one of my favorite anti-bruiser comps of any kind. It just seems to always out-bruiser the bruisers. Everyone's tanky, deals a lot of damage, plenty of healing, res lead is nice, so it just seems to not lose ever. I decided to go for Tesarion first because I'm mostly afraid of him landing Oblivion on Tesarion and then losing out on my damage reduction. So if I get rid of him first, then should be smooth sailing from there on, which is what happened. Luckily, he didn't defense break my Tesarion and Oblivion and then violent proc into skill 1, because that would have been like probably GG right out of the gate. That hasn't happened before, so I will keep using this team until something like that happens. Maybe it'd be better if I had him on Will, but I really like the build I have on him. We had someone in RA for a little bit who was a G3 RTA player. I think he's G3 right now. And I tried to make my Tesarion look as much like his as possible because it's just a really good build, and I got pretty close. So I have him in the 239 speed breakpoint with slot 2 attack rather than slot 2 speed. And so it's just very efficient, and I like it. So Revenge is, I think, the next best from Will on him. And then my Vigor is not one of my 132 Vigors, it's just plus 115. That's the highest defense of all my Vigors. I think highest efficiency overall, does best in world boss and that kind of thing. It's just a mega tank. Super tanky. Since I'm not running a speed lead here, there's no reason to run a 132 Vigor, so I'm happy with happy with running a 115 Vigor. So got a win on the first one. After this, we hit another Tessa Vigor Molly, this Duma guy, this time with Bulwark, Molong, Amelia, which is just like a free win. This offense is so good. The most frustrating thing with it, I think, is that I only have one Amelia, and using Amelia here means I can't use her with Fang, so that's no good. I do misplay and go for Tesarion here first, which I shouldn't. Should just go for Molly because of the damage reduction. I don't think I've ever had Molong actually kill Tesarion before, so I should just learn from my mistakes and quit doing that. Only fear here is Tesarion landing Oblivion on Amelia. That would be bad. So I guess that's what's in my head, thinking I need to kill him first, but I think it's safest just to get rid of Molly and then go for Tesarion next. Save Vigor for last, obviously, because you want Vigor to be putting up all of his buffs to help your Bulwark out. So anyways, it's one of those offenses you can't really build a defense around because it's gonna get wins. I accidentally hit pause there. That was not on purpose. So I'll just fast forward through the rest of this one because it'll take a while. Alright, so I saw this Tesarion Vigor Tyrannus that was 0-4 and Tesarion Vigor Louise and decided to go for that one. It was 0-0. I have never hit this defense before, so I was kind of curious about it. I brought Elsharion Harmonia Vigor, thinking Elsharion could provide like permanent immunity, kind of like Amelia, just stealing it from Louise every time Louise does skill 3. I should not have gone for Vigor there. I wanted to just kind of test out Elsharion's damage. I have him ruined on triple HP or speed HP, something like that as a Lucian Trap defense. That does okay. But it would have been certainly safer to steal the immunity to prevent Elsharion getting defense broken and killed right out of the gate, because that'd be bad. Don't want that. So Tesarion can target my Elsharion or my Harmonia here, one of the two. Shouldn't target Vigor ever. And then Vigor should be defense breaking Harmonia, so I was thinking that, you know, it's unlikely for Elsharion to get targeted and, you know, the Oblivion ruining his passive. Also, I was thinking that I could steal the immunity. I did not realize that they have so much other buffs other than immunity, so it's not too often that I actually steal the immunity. So I don't think this defense is, or this counter to this defense, I should say, is 100% safe by any means. I don't think it's a bad counter to it, but I feel like it certainly could lose. Like right there, if he would have crit, that could have been real bad. He, you know, did the skill 2, landed the defense break, landed the Oblivion, Violent procced into skill 1, but luckily he just didn't deal that much damage. And then Violent procs a bunch there, but when I have the anti-crit and the immunity up, it doesn't really matter. So we get the win, get pretty lucky here. I'll fast forward through the rest of it. I should add that this Tesarion Vigor X is a decent supplement to people that don't have Molly as a defense. You can do Tesarion Vigor Tyrannus, Tesarion Vigor Louise, Tesarion Vigor Xing. Just the idea is Tesarion Vigor Wind Monster. It's not as good as the Molly comps, but they tend to do okay. My Tesarion Vigor Tyrannus has a pretty decent record, so if you don't own Molly, but you do own some kind of wind monster and want to try that with your Tesarion Vigor, go right on ahead and let me know how it goes. Alright, so I found this LD tower with Artamiel Celia, Artamiel Fang, and then Thebay Savannah. So I thought, you know, hit some LDs for the content and bring out the Belial again against the Artamiel, which was pretty fun last siege, or a couple sieges ago. It didn't work out for me the first time I used Belial, but brought it against Artamiel, Darian, Jeanne, or something like that, and it worked out really well. So I figured let's do it again. And I think this is the first time I've ever done a match where I didn't have a single controlled turn. Like every turn I had, I was either provoked or waking up from a nap. So it was not good. They almost completely killed Rena before even breaking down the demon at all. It's just like, it was so sad. So sad. You know, I figured 100 resistance Rena. Celia has a resistance check. Let's see where it takes me. But it just took me to death and doom and destruction and sadness. And I did not have a good time. I was unhappy. So, I mean, I wasn't tilted. It was more like shock. Like I'm just holding my phone thinking, wow, that's never happened before, ever. So that's cool. So, whatever. we move on. Khmun Vigor Ethna. So that's the thumbnail. People have, or someone has asked me for a Khmun Vigor Ethna how-to counter video, which is tricky. Those are hard to make and they cost me all of my mana. So I'm just like, you know, moving runes around and testing a bunch of different monsters because I try to use 10 unique monsters when I make those videos. And this is not an easy defense, I don't think. Ethna just adds a lot of RNG. She is so good. She really is so good. But this one I feel like is a pretty safe counter. It's not a free-to-play counter by any means. Fangyan Velajul is just really strong together. I figured Elucia is like Khmun Vigor Skogul. I use Elucia against those. So I bring her to control the Vigor and the Khmun with the skill 1, and the skill 2, or skill 3 I should say. And then have Fang and Velajuel just kill people, and Velajuel is going to deal a crap ton of damage. Provides a lot of safety with his skill 3. Fang just can tank anyone and anything, has the self cleanse, deals lots of damage. So I feel like this is probably one of the safer counters out there. Could probably still lose with the Violent Ethna just going crazy on you, landing, you know, the defense breaks and then Violent proccing into skill 3 and hurting you. Sakura in my guild, I saw her use a mirror match against it, and I figured, well, if she can do it, so can I. So their Ethna outsped me, which I was okay with. I don't have my Ethna runed super fast. I tend to favor efficiency over speed, so her stats are just really good. I wish she was on Will. I were on a focus build because every other build I could find for her on Violent had no accuracy. And it's like she needs, you know, some accuracy. So I got it from focus runes, just a focus set. So anyways, I just went for whoever was defense broken. Ethna landed defense break on Ethna and Vigor. So Khmun skill 2, their Ethna was pretty squishy. It just died in one hit from my Khmun. And my Khmun's not on crit damage, so that was impressive. Or I don't know if it was impressive for my Khmun or not impressive for the Ethna, that they just died so fast. But I don't know if this is a safe counter. I would say it's pretty RNG heavy, because I mean, certainly if you're out runes, a mirror match will like always fail. But if you have equal runes, often mirrors are okay because you have the advantage of not following the AI targeting restrictions that the defense has to. So some mirrors are certainly okay. If you trust your runes, I would say go for it, try it out. But for the most part, I think if you're in G3 Siege, like I would not want to do a mirror match against Howdy, for example. So third one, I have Fire Panda and Perna and another Lucia. And I feel like this should be a pretty safe counter, but unfortunately I can't land a defense break on Ethna. So it just was so frustrating. I don't know if they have their Ethna runed high resistance or what. Like my Zhangfei doesn't have super high accuracy, but he was landing defense break on Khmun and Vigor like it was nothing. Just super easy. But I think it's like my first 3 attempts trying on Ethna and I could not make it happen. So my Perna's not super crazy high damage, but I have him on 100 crit rate because I want to always crit. So 26k on the defense broken Khmun. I guess if I had a heavier hitting Perna, then, you know, I might have one-shot Khmun there and then had a nicer time, but regardless, this Ethna just really messed me up. Landed all 3 defense breaks there. It was definitely a despair Ethna. She got a decent amount of stuns. Just looking at like where I am right here, I would think this is for sure a win, but they managed to recover, unfortunately. Double stuns and kills the Perna there, super bad. Violent proc while it got the defense break on the Panda. It's just sadness. Did not work as well as the Fang Velajuel, though. It's kind of a similar build to the Fang Velajuel. Like you have the cleanser, you have a defense break, you have someone that deals a bunch of damage with their skill 2, Velajuel and Perna. You got passive healing, you have the control from Lucia. So I think like 8 times out of 10 you should probably win with this comp. I haven't tested that, so I don't know for sure, but I certainly do not have the best RNG. Maybe I'll try ruining up the Panda on, you know, a little bit higher accuracy, and we'll see if I do better with this comp next time. But anyways, unfortunate loss. It happens. We move forward. So 2 losses so far. Alright, so we see here Mo Long, Bulwark, Amelia, like I was saying, is just, that's a free win, or Wusa instead of Amelia. That's another counter people can try against Khmun, Vigor, Ethna. Would not surprise me if that does well 9 times out of 10. Like it's just dumb. So I brought Rakan, Tyrannus, Annabelle. I feel like I should use Tyrannus on offense more often because he's so good. Like he's basically like another Fang, and some ways as just like a heavy hitting wind tank. The revive is really, really nice. Recon I use on defense, so I have Violent Recon rather than Vampire Recon, though I think Vampire Recon is probably better when you use them on offense, but if you use them on defense, Violent is just always superior. So I figured Annabelle lands defense break on someone, and Recon and Tyrannus beat the crap out of them. Annabelle and Tyrannus both have a lot of, safety, some safety nets with the heal and the cleanse and the revive, the defense buff, so this seemed to work really, really well. Again, not a free-to-play comp, but it's a counter. So if you're looking for counters, maybe you want to try this one. I don't think it's as safe as the Fang Villager one. I still think that's probably the safest one, but I still think it's pretty good. Like, Recon has his, self-given immunity. Annabelle has the cleanse. It just seems pretty solid. As long as you land some defense breaks with Annabelle, should do pretty well. Alright, so on to the next one. We got some Molly comps. Xing, we see a Akroma there. But we go into Tesarion, Molly, and Xing, which if you saw my Lucia video recently, I talk about this defense or counter. Though I think I use Tesarion rather than Lauren, but I used Tesarion in my first match, so I'm using Lauren here, and she violent procs for me right out of the gate, which was very, very nice. So I think this is a relatively safe counter. I still really think Lucia's best paired with a Reviver. Like right there, if Xing would have violent procced and killed my Lucia, it would have been super sad to have to be going with Harmonia and Lauren into Molly and Xing. That would be a 2v2 that would not be fun. I think it could win if you get some lucky violent procs out of Lauren. But it would just take forever. It would be so nasty and dumb. I would not like it. But luckily I did not have to worry about that. I did not get violent procs there, so my Harmonia was able to get Lucia to recover, and it seemed to work out just fine. Again, my my Lucia video, I went up against a guildie who had HP lead rather than res lead, so it seems like it worked out here regardless. My Lauren seemed to land defense breaks just fine, and that's what you need with Lucia. You need defense breaker and a solid support, and maybe Lucia should have a decent amount of resistance himself to not get defense broken, but it's whatever. I got the win, I was happy. Vigor, Kumar, and Grago against this Tesarion, Akroma, Icares. This was a sad loss. That's so sad. The idea here was, the Grago tanks Icares, and Vigor and Kumar just are support and have my destroy runes put in work over time. But of course I should have, just like my Lauren, I moved will runes onto her. Should have done the same for Grago, because should have known Tesarion would be super smart and just put the Oblivion on him right away and Icares kill him right away. So as soon as that happened, it was like GG. I tried to play it out a little bit to see maybe I could recover, but no, that was sad. That was a pretty, just like, dumb by me. That was certainly a winnable defense. It's not like a crazy awesome defense by any means. Despite my poor performance, we still get the win, which is good. It was a G2 Siege, so we expected to get the win as soon as we match those guys, but we'll be at, rank 30-ish tomorrow. Tonight's Sunday. Well, I guess technically it's Monday now, so we got Siege in 14 hours. 140 was my contribution, so that makes 7 defense wins, which is okay. I always try to at least get 150. I mean, I try to do as best as I can. I always want to be the top contributor, but that doesn't always happen. Nerd and Ron did really well in this one. Most everyone seemed to get at least 7 wins, and then plenty of defense wins, which is kind of what we expect out of a G2 Siege. So anyways, we'll record another one tomorrow and Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next video.